All go to one place. All are the dust, and all turn to dust again. That is the first verse drawn. Out of more than 32,000 verses in the Urim Thummim version corpus, the very first verse, the cryptographic entropy source, selected was Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 20. And it did not open with a battle cry. It did not open with the name of a nation or the sound of horses. It opened with dust. The question we brought before the Father was direct. Will U.S. troops be deployed inside Iran? 200 verses were drawn and analyzed under SHIELD Protocol 10.3, the Lambda Standard. The draw was powered by cryptographic entropy, hardware-generated randomness with no human selection bias. And the Father answered. But he answered the way a prophet answers, with sorrow first and the cause of the thing before the confirmation of the thing. Let me give you the numbers, because the numbers are extraordinary. The Dominion Triad, the convergence of identity, inheritance, and priesthood in a single verse, appear in 11 of the 200 verses drawn. The baseline expectation was just under 3. That is 381% of expected, at 3.56 standard deviations. The probability of this concentration arising from chance is roughly 1 in 2,700. 2 markers survived the Benjamini-Hochberg false discovery rate correction, the Dominion Triad itself, and priesthood at 160% of baseline. These are not marginal signals. They survive the most conservative statistical gatekeeping the protocol applies. The Polarity Balance Index was affirmative, covenant keeping registered at 139% of baseline. Covenant breach fell below baseline at 89%. The draw tilts decisively toward covenantal favor, not covenantal tension. And the Deterministic Inquiry Answer, the hard-coded, rule-based mathematical verdict that no interpreter is permitted to override, returned lean yes, with a probability of yes at 98.1%. The mathematics say yes, but the text says something far more layered than a simple yes. Despite 0 direct textual hits on the pre-registered search terms, Army, Inside, Persia, Elam, this draw is saturated with military imagery, Near Eastern geography, and the language of nations summoned to war. Listen to Isaiah chapter 5, verse 26. He will raise up a standard to the nations from afar, and will whistle to them from the ends of the earth, and they will come with speed swiftly. A standard is a battle banner. The whistling is a military summons. And the force come from the ends of the earth, a power geographically remote from a Near East, drawn into the Babylonian-Persian theater. Then Ezekiel chapter 23 names the players directly. The Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, Pekod, Shoah, Koa, and all the Assyrians with them, all of them desirable young men, captains and rulers, great lords and renowned, all of them riding on horses. These are tribal and regional designations mapping precisely onto modern Iraq and Western Iran. Military elites in full array. Jeremiah chapter 50. Watch, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. Isaiah chapter 13. How? Because the day of YHWH is at hand. It will come as a destruction from Shaddai. This is from the Oracle against Babylon, one of the most explicitly military chapters in the Hebrew prophets. Its presence anchors this draw squarely in the Persian-Babylonian corridor. The prophet Jonah is commanded, get up, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it. Nineveh, the ancient Assyrian capital, modern northern Iraq, bordering Iran. And the directive is interventionist. Go into the foreign powers' domain. The song of Deborah thunders from Judges. Awake, awake, Deborah. Awake, awake, utter a song. Arise, Barak, and lead your captivity captive. And then Jael takes a hammer. With a hammer she killed Sisera. She destroyed his head. This is not metaphor. This is kinetic military action. David put the battle in formation against the Syrians, and they fought with him. Numbers chapter 31 prescribes post-battle purification. Encamp yourselves outside the camp for 7 days. Whoever has killed a person, cleanse yourselves on the 3rd day and the 7th day, both you and your captives. In 2 Kingdoms, Jehoiada gathers rulers over hundreds, captains, and the guard, brings them into the temple, and overthrows Athaliah. Regime change by organized military force brought into the seat of power. And that verse is one of the 11 Dominion Triad verses in this draw. Identity, inheritance, and priesthood converging on a military overthrow. But here is what makes this draw different from a simple affirmative. The Father did not give a yes without making you see the cost. The Psalms cry out, "The days of his youth have you shortened. You have covered him with shame." Job mourns, "It will be accomplished before his time, and his branch will not be green." Another psalm, "My days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned as a hearth." Jacob in Genesis, "I will go to my son mourning, to the mansion of the dead." Ecclesiastes, again where we began, "For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief." Yes, his heart takes not rest in the night. This is the grief thread running alongside the military thread. The draw says yes, and insists that you see the young men whose days will be shortened, the fathers who will go mourning, the bones burned as a hearth. This is what the lead verse was doing. Before the Father spoke a single word about battle formations, he said, "Dust." There is a third thread, and it may be the most important. The Father is emphatic that whatever unfolds in the Persian corridor, it unfolds under his governance, not by human initiative alone. Isaiah chapter 45, "I make peace and create evil. I, YHWH, do all these things," from the oracle against Sennacherib. "I will put my hook in your nose and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the road by which you came." The advancing power is on a leash. The hook is in the nose. Even if deployment occurs, its scope and trajectory remain under covenantal governance. Daniel chapter 8, "His power will be mighty, but not by his own power, and he will destroy wonderfully." Power that operates through borrowed or delegated strength, a coalition, a proxy arrangement. Mighty, yes, but not by his own power. And Daniel chapter 11 adds a haunting qualifier. "When they fall, they will be helped with a little help, but many will cleave to them with flatteries." A little help, unreliable allies, partners whose loyalty is thin. Even in an affirmative deployment, the alliances will be complicated and some of the support will be hollow. The 11 Dominion Triad verses form the covenantal spine of this draw. Among them, Colossians, "Messiah in you, the hope of glory." Exodus, "Forgive our depravity and take us for your covenant inheritance." Revelation, "The temple of Elohim opened in heaven, and the ark of his covenant appeared, with lightnings and thunderings and earthquake and great hail." Luke, "Simeon taking the child Joshua in his arms and declaring, 'My eyes have seen your salvation.'" The Psalms, "Great deliverance gives he to his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, to David, and to his seed for the ages." These 11 verses at 381% of baseline are the Father's signature on this draw. Even as nations rage and military powers are summoned from the ends of the earth, the identity of the covenant people is secure. The inheritance stands. The priesthood endures. So what is the Father saying? He is saying that the question we asked, will U.S. troops be deployed inside Iran? Probably yes. The Deterministic Inquiry Answer, return lean yes, at 98.1%. The Dominion Triad fired at 3.56 sigma. 2 markers survived FDR correction. The polarity balance was affirmative. The math is clear, and the text is clear. A distant power summoned to the Near Eastern theater. Battle banners raised. Military formations deployed against the Babylonian-Persian corridor. Regime changed by organized force. The call to arms. The decisive strike. But the Father also drew a remarkable verse from 1 Thessalonians. "Study to be quiet, and to do your own business, and to work with your own hands." That verse is addressed to the covenant community, watching these events unfold. Be watchful, be faithful, but do not be swept away by the noise of nations. And through it all, the covenantal promise holds. Exodus chapter 40. The cloud mass of YHWH was on the priestly tabernacle by day, and supernatural fire was on it at night, whenever they pulled up the pegs and broke camp in their pilgrimage. Even on the march, even in uncertain terrain, the presence goes with them. The Father's answer to the question, will U.S. troops be deployed inside Iran, is probably yes, and the cost will be written in